a couple of Illinois comments. When you play a Power 5 team like that and you get in that position, and which you can't always do, you need to try to find a way to finish it, and we just didn't quite get that done. Our game really probably came down to 4 or 5 plays, which most games in college football do. But we could turn a few of them around. It could have been a different outcome. Certainly the drive right before half when we had them 21-6, and they went right down the field, got a quick score, that hurt. Roughing in the kicker hurt. But there were some other plays in there that if we had been able to turn around, could have made a difference too. Guys played hard, and they were really disappointed to lose that one. We probably gave up too many rushing yards to them. We didn't fit our gap very well sometimes, and we lost leverage with our safeties a couple times. That hurt us in the rushing game, and they hadn't been able to run the ball that well this year, so that hurt us a little bit. Tulsa, proud program. Anybody got any extra tickets? I'm going kind of back home, so I need to see if I can get some tickets. You guys help me out here a little bit. Should be, I don't know how many fans we'll have, but I'll have some family there. I grew up about an hour and a half from there. So any help would be appreciated. These guys are pretty good on offense. They're throwing the ball really well. They're averaging over 300 yards a game throwing it. They're a little bit down offensively running the football. Not sure what to think about those stats with the Oklahoma game mixed in there like it was, but they quarterback's a gunslinger. He's not afraid of anything. The defense is solid. Brent Guy I've known for a long time, their defensive coordinator. He does a good job. Always keeps them sound and well prepared, and always a challenge to go against Brent. So this is going to be a close, hard-fought game, I think, and two teams that are 1 and 2 that both want to get a win, get back in the good column, and especially we'd like to, with it being our last game before we go into conference play.
Coach, you look forward to this back. First game, 65, obviously a lot different than the last 2 games you played. How's the team psyche now? Obviously, they're so high. Pretty handling the situation pretty well?
I think so. They've been disappointed the last 2 weeks, but I think they believe and they know that if they can make a few more plays, they'll get the W. And I think they believe they can win a lot of games yet before the season's up. And I don't sense any drop-offs right there. I mean, they were disappointed after both losses, and they should be. They both hurt. But that's all right. When you make a commitment, they should hurt. And we did that. But we've bounced back and had good practices and preparation, so I don't anticipate any problems.
What's your assessment of how our defense is now is everything the role of running that as a narrative
Well, we got to play better on that side of the ball. Fundamental things. Lost our gap a time or two. They hurt us. Lost our leverage a time or two. That hurt us. If we can eliminate fundamental miscues, we'll defend people better. But we're still a little bit of a work in progress, and we're going to have some ups and downs, I think. But that should have been, they gave up 35 defensively. They probably should have gave up 24, which would have been enough to win the football game.
You said post-game that you weren't getting moral victories, that you didn't want to let them play very well. Team led in time possession and plays. Can you maybe positives from that, going forward, that you were able to run 30 more plays than the opposition?
Well, I think, 10 to 20 on third down, and time of possession has become a meaningless statistic to us really right now. we both had about the same amount of yards. We just needed more plays to get them. But if we got the ball, they don't have the ball. I think the point being is that our tempo, no huddle stuff has worked pretty well. Last year we averaged 64 plays a game. We ran 57 in the first half Saturday. So we didn't have a very good third quarter, but we did get a touchdown after the interception. So there's a lot of positives, I think, offensively. Tyler had one bad throw he'd like to have over, but he played an excellent football game. I mean, without Tyler playing the way he did, I don't think we could have been in position to win that game. He made 2 or 3 unbelievable plays and really gave us a chance to win the football game. And, drove us right back down the field after the interception, and we recovered the onside kick. Who knows what happens? So I promise you, if we could have recovered it and scored, we were going for 2. We weren't going for 1. As I told somebody, we didn't come to lay up. It was a par 5, and we were going for it. And just didn't quite find a way to get it done. But we've turned the ball over 3 times in 3 games offensively, so that's good. We've had some nice drives, some time-consuming drives. I think we either had a 13 or a 15-play drive. One thing Illinois did is make us drive for things. We didn't get a lot of big plays in this game, and we were able to execute and do that pretty well. Our 3rd down conversion was pretty good. Our 4th down conversion was pretty good. We need to get more takeaways on defense. We need to get the ball out, or we should have had one more interception. That guy right there usually catches them. He didn't quite come up with this one, but he's usually pretty sure-handed. And we could have had another takeaway. And when the ball's out, we got to get some more takeaways. That's one thing in 3 games we haven't done yet very much of.
How about penalties? Kind of being a couple weeks ago. Concerned about that?
Well, our penalties at the end were critical penalties. We only had 4 penalties offensively, so that wasn't too bad. I think we ended up with 7 in the second half, but the penalties that you notice are the pass interference, the roughing the kicker. Those were critical penalties. Extended drive, you take a field goal off the board and let them go for a touchdown, and they get it. So those are always concerning issues, but they weren't dumb penalties. I mean, they were play-hard penalties. I mean, we got to tighten David's angle so that he doesn't hit the kicker. We got to, the pass interference that they called on David, I suppose when they give you a paycheck to come play him, you don't get that call. But I thought it was uncatchable. I really did. But like the guy on the chain said to one of our guys on the sideline, when we pay you to come play us, you don't get those calls. So, okay. and believe me, yeah, somebody told one of our guys on the sideline. And that was probably joking. That crew did a great job. That was a good crew, and they did a good job. And I commend the Big Ten for that crew. Pretty funny joke. Yeah, they You're gonna tell them better be good. Yeah, that's the way it is. So, we gotta earn it, and we didn't quite get that done.
Coach, in the 3rd quarter, it seemed like your offense maybe kind of getting over the wall, and Illinois' defense kind of got overrun.
This is going to sound crazy, but I said this and I felt this way. We ran so many first plays in the first half, I thought we'd give them a week's worth of practice of defending us. I know that's silly, but we just didn't execute quite as well. They made some good plays. They got us behind the chain a time or 2. We got out of rhythm just a little bit. Their offense got in a little bit of rhythm. But to our credit, we got the pick and we went right down and scored. I don't know if against Illinois we're going to make a good drive every time we get it. You hope to, and to do a little better in the 3rd quarter than what we did. But I suppose if we're honest and realistic with ourselves, we have to understand they're going to get some stops against us too. Just having to string them together in that quarter.
When you talk about 3rd down conversions, Tim, between how did you feel you did on 1st and 2nd down? Honestly, there were a lot of those conversions were long yardage conversions, which are good, but it wears on the team.
Well, they do. I didn't feel bad about our 1st and 2nd downs, though. obviously you got to find ways to convert whatever the down and distance, and the longer yardage ones are harder. And we did give ourselves a few long yardage ones, but we found a way to, we had a good plan and converted it, and the kids executed it well. But I mean, gosh, we had 460 yards of offense against a Big Ten team, so we want to do better. And for 95 plays, we probably ought to get a few more yards, you'd like to hope, but it's hard to sit here and whine about it too much, be critical about it too much, really.
You thought the kids handled the rain very well, you said?
You know, we've been through this so much that it wasn't a big deal for our guys. I didn't feel like it was a big deal for them. It was 2 hours, and you know, you keep getting 30-minute warnings. It's 30 more minutes, but our guys were good. I mean, you know, we went through it with the Wyoming game last year, and we have to go through it at practice once in a while. And I don't think they would say that it affected them. I just think, you know, and we came out in the first drive, we went right down the field, missed a field goal, and then got it back and went right down and scored. And they had to eke out a touchdown against us right before half. So I don't think the rain delay had anything to do with anything.
The touchdown right before the half, obviously that's a crucial time too. You don't want to give them those points going into halftime. How did you feel about that point?
Well, that hurt. You'd like to got in 21-6, and it was almost too easy. You know, they hit 3 or 4 plays, and the quarterback got hot. We went through a little period there, Steve, where we weren't around Lunt very much. Early in the game, I thought we had him out of rhythm, out of sync. We maybe got him throwing, moving around to have to throw, and then he got into a period there where we didn't get him to even move out of the pocket much. And when we went through that, he hurt us, and I think that was the big part of that. They started picking up things and protecting just a little better.
I mean, delay that really hurt us. So we get halftime. We still had momentum.
Yeah.
Halftime.
Yeah, and we only had a 12-minute half, so they just played a little better than we did in the third quarter.
Did you make any adjustments defensively to try and get more pressure in the backfield?
Oh, I think John pulled all the rabbits out of the hat that he had to come after him with. You know, and even I think it's the last offensive touchdown, we didn't contain the guy, and we should have. We had a pressure called from there that should have contained him and pulled him up, and then we didn't. We had a couple guys in secondary, I think, a little off in the call and everything. But I don't think John left anything in his pocket.
And offensively, did you feel like you're starting to kind of let Tyler Jones kind of go out a little bit and spread the ball out more, test Illini? I mean, early on it seemed like, you know, did a lot of quick passes, got it out early, you know, kind of stayed in the slot. But Saturday it seemed like you were getting a lot more, you know, outside receivers involved and, you know, taking a few shots downfield. Just talk about that a little bit.
Well, you know, each week is different because each group of guys are going to defend us differently. So what we have to do is try to take advantage of what they give us. They played a lot of man coverage on our wide receivers, and we made them pay some. They made us pay some. And, you know, the quick rhythm throws, I think we had a little protection problems early, so tried to get it out of his hand a little quicker so that we didn't have to stay locked on. The one end was pretty good pass rusher. So we, you know, sometimes throwing down the field was a little more difficult. I wish I would have maybe had maybe moved Tyler around in the pocket a little bit more, maybe sprinted out a time or two more to help him on a couple things like that. But in retrospect, I mean, I think we adjusted pretty well. And you know, the last drive we go down and score, we protected good in that drive. I mean, that was the same guys rushing, and maybe they were getting tired finally, but our protection was pretty darn solid that time. Tyler buys time for some protection with his scrambling ability. I mean, and he made a couple throws Saturday late that, you know, okay, that's good. It's a completion, but all right, now keep in mind when you start sprinting right and throwing left, you're something bad's going to happen eventually. But that's one of the beauties of Tyler is that as he moves, he maintains vision of the field, and so that's one of his positive attributes. You know, the first touchdown to Ben Ija. Now, I'm coaching many quarterbacks would have found that guy in that situation. So that was a real credit to him. So, you know, we want to keep him doing those kind of things as much as we can.
You feel like your trust has grown a lot as the season goes on?
It has, yeah. Yeah, you know, we hit a slant early and we came back to it, not early, but in the drive before the one that threw the pick. And he really should have gone to the inside guy on that one. And the corner really made a great play. It was more a great play on the corner than Tyler's fault. The corner just really did a nice job. That number 21 was a very good corner. I think we'll see him play on Sundays. He played well.
He was pretty close to perfect, I mean, all until that point.
He played a heck of a game. Even with that, he played a heck of a game.
Is Tulsa much different from Illinois? Pass the ball. How different are they?
Well, they're a different kind of style of attack. Illinois was a pro-style attack. I would call Tulsa a little bit more like us, where they'd like to establish the run. They're a play-action team. The quarterback probably is a little bit like Tyler, or vice versa. Defensively, I don't think they're going to be maybe as athletic as Illinois. I mean, they've got good size where they need it, and I don't mean to sound like they're not athletic, but Illinois had a couple special guys up front that were hard to, and they were 6'6". I mean, they were a challenge to block. We had a hard time with 17, whether it was run or pass. I mean, we had a hard time with him. Number 17, the defensive end, we had a hard time with him, and I don't see them having the 6'6" guy like that guy was the other day. But they play hard and they rush hard, and they're pretty solid.
Talk about again Ben had. Is he developing into the playmaker?
I think so. Ben's been pretty solid for us all 3 games. I mean, you know, I think you were getting good, consistent performance from him, and that's good. As a coach, that's what you want, is consistency. He missed a block on a screen one time that could have got us a few more yards, but he's you know, really, Ben, Japhus, Brandon, CJ, they're all giving us good performances at different times, and we don't have to depend on 1 or 2. We're not afraid to go to the other guys, which is nice. Sometimes you'd like to have that 6'6" guy that Illinois had that runs those kind of routes and things, but you know, for us, really, the ability to spread the ball around is a strength, I think.
How about, and he's an interesting kid. Does a lot of stuff. He teaches himself piano. The story about his grandfather is pretty remarkable. If you know much about it.
There's only one Ben Ija. He amazes you all the time with the things that he can do. I mean, he's an engineering major. I mean, very serious student. He's a fine young man. I never have a problem with Ben. He does the right things. He has gotten so much better as a football player since he arrived. He's worked hard. I mean, our players really look up to Ben, I think, right now as one of our leaders. So that's a real tribute to him and what he's done since he's been here.
Does he lead by example, or is he kind of vocal, or both?
Mostly example, but he's become more vocal as he's moved into his senior year. I think he's accepted the responsibility that goes with that. I think he understands that walking the walk is the first thing to do before you talk it, and he's tried to do that. I admire Ben for how he's handled himself.
Coach, a 2-part question.
Well, this cost extra, Steve.
Just in tribute. First of all, any injuries to report after this game? Not talking about that. Second of all, 2 weeks ago we said we were talking about how the play of your interior defensive line was going to be crucial in these last 2 games. How do you feel like we've been over the last 2 games?
Injury-wise, nothing of any significance to report right now. Mike,
Coming back?
excuse me?
Is Gabe coming back?
Tim Gay, I think he'll play this week. We had Damani Alexi and Matt Freeman out last week, and I think they'll both be ready to go this week. Mike has a surgery tomorrow, a RACPO, and Lucas Askew, who's going to redshirt, is going to have season-ending shoulder surgery Friday, but doesn't impact, the games right now. I would, as far as the lines, I'd probably give the O-line a B, and I'd probably give the D-line a C+. Maybe a little better if they'd been in their gap a couple times better. And it wasn't always them that lost gap control. It was a linebacker at one time. Maybe C+ is being a little harsh, but we got to get a little better there.
Can you talk about the statement you want to make, last game before we start conference play? We want to come out and show.
Well, I just like to get to 2-2 going into conference play. I think when you sat back in August and looked at our first month of the season and think that you had Navy, Illinois, and Tulsa on your schedule, I mean, that's not an easy way to say, hey, we're going to be 2-2 or 3-1 coming out of non-conference. We've got our shot this week. This is a pretty even matchup, I think, in a lot of ways, and I'm sure they are thinking the same thing. They'd like to be 2-2 right now, just like we would, and that's more of what is on my mind than any kind of statement for conference play. Conference play is always a little bit of a heightened emotion and mental aspect with no matter what, but I think the biggest thing is I felt like we improved in a lot of areas Saturday against Illinois. I really did. We still got a lot of areas to improve on, and the good thing for me as a coach is we can improve on a lot of areas. Sometimes you reach a point where you are what you are. That's what you are. And maybe later on I'll say that. We may be getting close to that. But I do think watching our guys and some of the younger guys getting more plays, the Dondre Elboids, the Rashad Dillons, some others in there, Aaron Shaw, Jamad Williams, Damani Alexi. Those guys had played none or very little Division I football before we started, and they're getting more reps, and they can get better, and they know they can get better. And they're not the only ones. I just grabbed those names off the defense right there, but and so from a coaching standpoint, that's exciting to know that they can get better. And when you have guys like DeAndre and Rashad, or the young guys, you hope they're going to be better in October than they were September. Okay, better in November than they were in October. You hope that's what happens. That's what you're striving for, is for them to start to hit their stride and hit their rhythm and become better college Division I football players. And that's a time-consuming issue. It's a deal where, hopefully you do get better every week. But there's going to be some ups and downs to it, and we understand that.
Would you consider 2-2 non-conference record success?
4-0 is a success. I think you got to put a realistic outlook on it, and again, that's not I haven't even given that any thought right now. I'd like to get to 2-2 and be there going into conference play, and that's really, you guys should identify whether it's success or not. I'm just worried about winning this game right now.
Coach, David Gish passed can you tell us how well did you know him?
Well, obviously, David and I have spent a ton of time together. Two guys that the head coach always becomes close to are the equipment manager and the trainer. And if you want to know about the pulse of your football team, ask those two guys. They usually know as well as anybody. And David was as deeply maroon and gold as anybody around here. Love this program, love these players, love the university. San Marcos is everything, stood for everything in his life as a husband and a father that great people do, and he'll be missed here. He was a special person. I know our players feel a loss. You know, our new players that didn't get to know David as well, but anybody that's been around here feels that void right now in losing him, and we all hate it. Tragic occurrence, and a loss for the Bobcat Nation. All good? All right, you've worn me out. I got no more answers.